Hello friends, so this is using belly dance techniques for strengthening our joints, okay? So to begin with, we're going to work on our wrists and sit deep, push through the heels, get a little shimmy wobble on. This is just to occupy the lower half while we work on our hands. So we're going to warm the hands up firstly, so make tight fists and then splay fingers wide, tight and splay, tight and splay. Okay, just doing this a few times just to warm it up. A little bit faster, close, open, close, open, close, open. Okay, shake it out. Now, start with fists and push your fists like you're pushing into dough or something. You're really kneading the dough. So you're getting a nice rotation in the wrists. Just keep that shimmy going if you can. And now start to open the fingers, but keep that same motion in the wrist. So you're just rotating the wrists. And as belly dancers, it's quite nice to add a little shaping into those hands. So we're going to have really tense fingers, and using those middle fingers, start like you're scooping with that finger, scooping round and round. So we're going to keep that motion going, keep the shimmy going at the same time. So bring the hands front, start going above the head, open wide, coming front. Lovely, one out to the side, change side. I'm moving the arms partly so you don't get sore shoulders yet, because we've got to work on the shoulders. Still to come. Okay, so rotate those wrists coming up to the centre and then open wide. You might be starting to get achy wrists, which is good because that means they're getting the workout they need. If you didn't feel anything, then you wouldn't be making a difference. And shake those wrists out and shake the hips. Lovely. Right, so we're going into the shoulders, and belly dance is wonderful snake arms for shoulders. So get a nice comfy seat, little pelvic tuck. You can keep a shimmy going, or you can just keep still, because our focus is in the shoulders. And then have the arms wide. So just squeeze up one shoulder and drop. Squeeze up the other shoulder and drop. Squeeze it up and drop. Try not to bend your neck to meet it. It's just the shoulder. Up and drop. Up and drop. Up and drop. Up. If it's too much to do the shimmy, just drop it all together. It doesn't matter. And now we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Release. Together. Release. Together. Release. Together. Release. And squeeze and squeeze. Now hold that with those shoulder blades pinned back. Hold that. And now just start shrugging those shoulders whilst keeping those arms wide. Now you have to remember posture at this point, because when you're doing something quite strenuous in the upper half, it can be you can start losing your discipline down below. So soft seat, little tailbone tuck, and then just keep shrugging those shoulders. So you're not driving it with the wrists or the arms. Your arms are entirely passive. It is entirely the shoulders doing the work. If it's really hard work, then well done, you're doing it well. If it is too much, having the arms so high, just bring them low, but still make sure that the arms are not doing the motion. It's entirely your shoulder. Now change direction, maintaining that posture, core tucked in. Okay, And just give a little bit of a bend forward and just let those shoulders release a little. Lovely jubbly. Okay, shrug those shoulders back. Let's open up. Let's do both wrists and arms. So start rotating those wrists as we did earlier. And now let's shrug one shoulder, tense those fingers, shrug the other shoulder, tense those fingers. Again, you can bring it to down here, shrug and then tense, shrug and then tense. You can add a shimmy if you like. Or if you feel up to it, you can bring them right up to shoulder level. Shrug one shoulder, tense the fingers. Shrug one shoulder, tense the fingers. Shrug one shoulder, tense those fingers. Shrug the shoulder, tense those fingers. Shrug and shrug and shrug and shrug. Ooh, snake arms. Really shrug those shoulders right back into the socket. Not using the elbows, just keeping a softness in the arms so that you get a ripple effect, but it's all in. Ooh, the shoulders. Let's shoulder shimmy all that out. Start shaking at the wrist. Shake the shoulders. Shake it all loose. Woo, good start. So we've been doing some wrist and shoulder strengthening. Now we're going to focus on our spine. For all our vertebral joints. So start seated. I'll turn sideways. So engage pelvic floor and stomach. So you get a little pelvic tuck. Squeeze that hard, squeeze that hard, squeeze that hard. Push those fingers forward, link them and push forward. Now with that tuck, you're going to slowly pressing those hips up, but still keeping all the muscles drawn in. Come up and straighten. And then we're going to press those shoulders back, press those hips forward, start crunching in the stomach, pull up the pelvic floor and come to seated. Okay, so we're back to where we began. So going in reverse, tuck, crunch up, squeeze the belly and the pelvic floor, squeeze the buttocks and press yourself up to standing, to straight. Now push the chest forward, press the hips forward. As the hips come forward, really start crunching in the stomach, crunching up the pelvic floor and press forward. So again, squeeze yourself into a straight line and press the hips, crunch your spine into a nice straight line again. So draw everything up, squeeze yourself up to standing and then press those hips forward, crunching with a little tail tuck, crunch it in, press those forward. Oh, that feels nice. So that's doing a spinal undulation, working the way up and down the spine from the pelvis. Now we're going to do via the chest. So this time, again, soft knees, little pelvic tuck. Press the chest forward by pinning back those shoulders. Push up, and as you bring the shoulders back, you start bringing in the stomach, pelvic floor, and then you finish in a straight line. And again, push the chest forward, pin back those shoulder blades, thrust up. As you do so, hips come forward, pull up the pelvic floor and the stomach and sit, and you are in a lovely straight line. And again, push the chest up, 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 up. Press those hips forward. Start pulling in the stomach, pull up the pelvic floor until you're nicely seated. So it's push up, press forward, crunch in and sit, push up, press the chest, shoulders back, press hips forward, crunch it in, and then squeeze it up, push forward, sit down, crunch up, push up, chest forward, sit down, crunch up, push chest up, press forward, sit down, crunch up, push forward, press forward, and tuck. Well done, well done. So we've been up and down the spine a few times, just working those vertebral joints. Now we're going to work on all the supporting muscles around the hips, starting with the buttocks, because gluteus maximus, biggest muscle in the body, really supportive around the whole back part of the pelvic cradle, which is around your hips and your lower spine. So to begin with, sitting deep, really dig those heels into the floor, because you're going to push up the back muscles of the back of the leg. And we're just going to really, by driving the heel into the floor, squeeze one buttock tight. Okay, so you've got slightly soft knees, and as that buttock really contracts, you'll see your hip goes up ever so slightly. You're not using your thigh muscles, so you're not straightening. Everything in the leg is soft. It's the buttocks. You're just going to focus the buttocks. Squeeze, 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 release. Other buttocks, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Waiting for the drum roll, release. Squeeze it up, release. Squeeze it up, release. As ever, check your posture, that you've got a little bit of a pelvic tuck. So squeeze and release. Squeeze, release. Coming to face front to you. And squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Use your pelvic floor at the same time. That will really assist you. Okay, so buttock and pelvic floor release. Both together if you can. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and keep it going. Squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Squeeze. 4 to 1 hip. 1, 2. Try not to use those thigh muscles. Change. 1. Just the buttocks and the pelvic floor. Change. 1. So the pelvic floor is also really supportive for the pelvic girdle. So squeeze, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze, 2, 3, 4. Shake it out. So actually give it a shimmy, because a shimmy is a great way to release any tension in the back. So now we're going to use those buttock squeezes, and we're also going to work the waist muscles, which are supporting your hip joint, by doing what I call V hips. Okay, so you're going to have one heel raised, squeeze the hip up and forward, so you've got a slight twist forward, squeeze it down, and then squeeze it, push it back. So you're making your hips do a V shape. Here we go. Down, squeeze up, down, squeeze back. Squeeze it really hard, really tense, both for the pull down and the squeeze up. So you're really tensing your buttock muscles, up, down and back, down, up, down, back, down, up, down, back, down, up, down, back, down, up, down, back. Keep it really contracted in those buttocks, so it makes the move nice and sharp. Forward, down, back, down, forward, down, back, down, forward, down, back, down, forward, down. Okay, shake it out and do the other side. Here we go. Starting slow. Squeeze it up and forward in a twist. Squeeze it down hard. Squeeze it back. Really engage those buttocks. Squeeze it down. Squeeze it forward. Squeeze it down. Squeeze it back. Squeeze it down. Really clench those buttocks. Really nice and tight. Squeeze. And down. Speeding up. And up, down, back, down. Squeeze hard each time. Both on the up and on the down. Don't forget to maintain a firm stomach. So you're squeezing those abs in a little bit to give some extra support there. So we're working all the muscles which wrap around the hip joints. Giving it a good hard squeeze, squeeze, back, up, down, back, down, up, down, back, down. And well done. You should feel some warmth around this area. Brilliant. So now we're going to start focusing on our thighs, knees and ankles. And the first thing we're going to do is a simple step up, up. So we're up on the balls of the feet. That's to strengthen your ankles. And also when you're working on your ankles, it travels up towards your knees. So we're doing both. And then you're going to step back with a heel, back with a heel. So it's up, up, back, back, up, up, flat, flat, up, up. Now, as you do so, really squeeze those buttocks. Squeeze, squeeze, down, down. Squeeze, squeeze, down, down. Squeeze, squeeze, down, down. Squeeze, squeeze, down, down. Squeeze, squeeze. Really push through the balls of the feet to get a strong squeeze in the buttocks. Squeeze, squeeze, down, down. Squeeze, squeeze, down, down. Right, going to change the lead foot. Are you ready? And squeeze, squeeze, flat, flat. Squeeze, squeeze, flat, flat. Squeeze, squeeze, flat, flat. Keep your posture, my darlings. Squeeze, squeeze. Work those buttocks. Use the hamstrings, the back of the thighs at the same time. Squeeze, squeeze. So this is a full ankle, knee and hip strengthener. Squeeze. You should hopefully start to feel a bit warm using all those big muscle groups. Lovely. So we're going to continue. So any work that we do on the balls of our feet is automatically strengthening for our ankles and travelling up to those knees. So we're now going to do tiptoe shimmies. So you're on the balls of the feet, but you then sit softly in the knees. So you're sort of sitting, but hovering on the balls of the feet. And just take a wobbly walk forward with whatever space you've got available and take it back. So because your balance is engaged, it's making those small muscles around the ankle joints to work harder. So doing it slow first, and now we're going to speed it up. And step, 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 and back, 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 forward, and back, 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 and forward. Remember, keep the knees soft. You need to anyway to get a decent bum wobble. Back, 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 and forward. One more time. Lovely. So, one more move to do, which is targeting specifically for the knees, and that is the downs. So, the downs, your heels are flat to the floor, and you start at sitting height. And what we're going to do, we're going to push one hip down. So we're staying nice and grounded into the floor. And we're just going to push down on one hip. Okay, so as that hip goes down, that knee bends a little more deeply, and the other hip rises. And then we just swap sides. So the other hip is now going down. Push actively through that heel. That will really engage all the muscles and ligaments around the knee. And push. So down and down, down and down, down. So the legs never straighten, so you never go up, down, down. It's all soft, tucked and seated. Okay, when you've got a slight bend in the joints, that's really activating all those support muscles. Get that tuck, down and down and down and down. Curl the toes up so that all the weight is in the heel. You'll really feel a difference. You'll really feel those muscles and ligaments engage. So we're going to take mini steps down, down. So you're always staying low. It's like you can't straighten up because you desperately need a wee. And back, back, pushing into those heels. Back and back, forward, down, like to use my hands, give an extra press down on those hips. So as I said, not straightening your legs whatsoever, sitting softly into those legs keeps those muscles and ligaments constantly strengthening and working to support those knee joints. A little faster, down, down, down. Tiny steps. It's not about how far we're travelling, it's just the technique. Push, push, down, down and back. Take a break whenever you need to, but try and keep it low. You should really feel it in the thigh muscles, which is great because again they're supporting those knee joints. A few more times. Make this the last few steps back. Oh, do you know what's good for this? Good old-fashioned massive shimmy. Sitting deep, little pelvic tuck. Push, shake, shift the weight side to side, waggle the hands, shake the shoulders, shake the bum. Let those thighs wibbly wobbly, all the tension out of them. Push through those heels to get a good hard shake. Gentle little shake off of the feet and the ankles. And well done.